We're talking college football, Joe, and the big college football weekend getting started this weekend. What's it look like on your end as far as what's going on with the betting end of it?
Yeah, we're very busy here at OffshoreInsiders.com for sure, and MyBookie.ag, which is a great sports book. But we're looking at quite a few games. Really, there was nothing that jumped out for the Thursday night portfolio. I'm a little excited about some of the weekend games. Ohio State at Indiana, for example. Ohio State's done, pretty well on the road, but they are laying 21 points. I think it might be a decent matchup for Indiana because they got good height at wide receiver. And Ohio State, they don't have a lot of weaknesses, but maybe their defensive backfield isn't quite the most dominant. So I do think that Indiana should be able to put on enough points on the board to keep this game a little closer than the odds makers think. Another game that I'm looking at is Tulsa and Oklahoma State. I do want to tell you one of the biggest myths in all of sports handicapping is people love to go with these double-digit rivalries. I've definitely found out that is not the case. For example, in this case, the double-digit dog is 2-1 in the series, but LSU, they got a lot of returning players. They got a 4,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher, 1,000-yard receiver back. Meanwhile, Tulsa graduated their all-time leading passer, Dane Evans. And the odds makers at MyBookie.ag, they're already telling us this is going to be a high-scoring game, 69.5 points. So I like Oklahoma State to win this shootout. I don't think Tulsa can keep up in a shootout. College football is one of the few sports I actually like laying the lumber. So Oklahoma State is actually a play that I have this weekend, minus the 17.5, and we'll probably release that as a premium play at OffshoreInsiders.com.
Now, the big game, of course, this weekend in college football is number 3 Florida State against number 1 Alabama. Yes. How does that one shape up as far as you guys are concerned?
Yeah, that's obviously, to say the least, it's a phenomenal game indeed. When you're talking about big games, tough to go against Alabama, but look, Florida State, they're also loaded on both sides of the ball. To be honest with you, I think this is a game that might be a little more interesting from a non-handicapping standpoint. In fact, I was actually offered a ticket to that. I may or may not take advantage of it. Clearly, the biggest game of national interest, and it's certainly a statement game for Florida State. Wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Florida State does pull it out because, the fact that obviously Alabama is in the best division, not just the best conference, but the best division in football. Alabama can definitely survive a loss and still go to the playoffs. Florida State, I think, still could too. If they lost this game and it was close and, they run the table, they are almost certainly in the playoff picture. But, all in all, if I had to make a pick, I would lean towards Florida State. And I know it's clearly the marquee game, one of the marquee games of the year from a betting standpoint. I don't see a humongous edge, but I would lean towards Florida State pulling out the victory.
Yeah, that game's at Atlanta, so it's kind of on neutral turf there.
Yes, it is. It's probably, there are definitely a lot of Florida State fans here. In fact, ironically enough, I'm looking into the yard of my neighbor, former Atlanta Flame TJ Ecclestone. He actually owns a sports bar, which is a big Florida State hangout. I do think that if there is what I like to call a neutral field advantage, there probably would be a slight advantage to Alabama. It is SEC country, but both of these schools are probably going to send a lot of people here. So, probably not a huge advantage either way, but maybe a slight edge to Alabama as far as it being on a neutral field.
All right. Well, we look forward to talking with you again weekly, Joe, and giving us your insight on what's happening as far as sports is going out there and how the lines are going and how people maybe should alter their betting going on during this year.
I very much look forward to it for sure. And, maybe we'll talk a little Wisconsin and Big Ten down the road, but most importantly, looking for the winners at OffshoreInsiders.com, where people can certainly place their wagers at MyBookie.ag, which is a fantastic sports book.
All right, Joe. Talk to you again next week.
Thank you very much.